I've wanted to talk about this topic for like 3 years now, and this video perfectly encompasses what is going on. Now, just like me, she's from Los Angeles, but there's honestly parts of the world that are dealing with the same exact thing. So let's just jump into it. Why I rent as a millionaire in LA.
Sign of success, and it's always the best investment.
Oh.
After about a year of searching, I am finally moving to a bigger place. And contrary to what I thought when I first started looking,
I decided to rent instead of buy.
a year ago, I was determined to
That's exactly my same story. I was thinking about buying a house in like 2023, I think. And the more I looked into it, I did like extensive research on this, like every single night for like 6 months straight. And ultimately, my conclusion was just like, this does not make sense. This does not make sense. The more you crunch the numbers, the more it literally does not make financial sense. It doesn't matter how many times you try to justify like, oh, well, what about this? What about this? I did all the simulations. It never made sense to buy in Los Angeles. And I was looking like Los Angeles County, Orange County. She's going to get into it. It's crazy.
buy, because if you have the money to do it, it's what you do in America, right? It's a sign of
That's what you would think. That's what people would think. But no, it still doesn't make sense. That's how bad it is. Anyways.
success, and it's always the best investment, right? This is so ingrained in many of us. We're blinded
That's
to the
how it
fact
used to
that
be.
it's not always true anymore. I'm going to explain why I decided to sign a lease and rent for another year, even though I technically could buy, and why I think this is the better financial decision for
Same. I could buy back in 2023. I could still buy right now. Why would I do that?
The first reason I decided not to buy and instead sign a new lease is because when I actually ran the numbers, it wasn't the best investment. And this was hard for me to wrap my mind around because for many years, buying was a great investment.
really for much of the past 50 years, and even as early as 2021. If you bought a place, your monthly cost would be the same, if not slightly cheaper, than the cost to rent a comparable place. But this is just not the case anymore.
With where prices and interest rates are currently, usually the monthly mortgage cost would be much higher than a comparable unit for rent.
When you actually run the numbers, it's pretty surprising. So take this condo, for example,
$800,000
that is
purchase.
in the $800,000 price range. It's 2 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, about 1,000 square feet, and this is pretty typical.
Now, I will say that it makes a lot more sense if it wasn't anywhere in Southern California. I mean, I've searched all over the place. I feel like maybe Temecula, Marietta will have some more affordable houses, but you got to move pretty far out there. But I mean, from Los Angeles County to Ventura County to Orange County to San Diego, what's that called? I don't even know what that is down there, but it's all bad. I thought San Diego for some reason was going to be more reasonable. It is not, and it's crazy. She's going to get into it.
Of what you'll find in this price point in Los Angeles. For a place like this, the monthly mortgage is nearly $6,000 a month.
Thank God. Here's the thing. Thank God I did not buy back in 2023 when everyone told me just buy right now and then refinance later and refinance down. Well, here we are 2 years later, and those interest rates are not coming down. It does not look like they're going to come down. Maybe they will now 6 months, but I would have been pissed. Because I would have thought by now that I would have been able to refinance and bring down this per month average. And that has not been the case. I try to break it down for my friend too, like my friend who is also looking to buy. And I'm like, bro, don't do it. Even for a condo, and she's going to get into it, but maybe it's just a man thing, but I am like heavily anti-HOA. Like HOAs are the most insane thing to me. I guess I can see some of the benefits. I'm not going to lie. If you have a crazy neighbor and your neighbor is running wild or whatever, you can get the HOA on them. But the fact that the HOAs can just kind of do whatever and they could raise you don't even know. There's nothing protecting you from the HOA just being like, hey, it's going to be an extra $1,000 a month now. I think maybe there is actually, but it feels like there's not. Because if you look at like the HOA fees back in like 2020 to like 2023, they'd almost doubled in certain communities, especially in Orange County where like HOAs are everywhere. Like it was pretty normal for me to run across like any sort of condo, townhouse, single family home in an HOA community, and it was like $750 a month. $750 a month. For reference, right now, my rent is $17.95. That is almost half of my rent just to the HOA. What? That's not even talking about a possible, the principal and the interest here, which is going to be the vast majority. Look, the HOA that it's like $657. Holy crap! Then there's homeowner insurance that goes up all the time. The property taxes is out of control. Maybe if you bought a long time ago, the property taxes is a little bit better, but you're looking at $12,000 from property taxes alone. $12,000, like something like 12. It depends on what you're buying, how much land and things like that. $12,000 alone for property tax. Again, that's like half of my rent right there. And we're not even talking about the maintenance that's going to go on top of all of this stuff when you have to, fix your house and stuff, which is going to be regular.
Month because of today's 7% interest rate. Meanwhile, there are plenty of 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartments that are arguably more updated. You can see the floors in the kitchen do look more modern in this one, that are less expensive. This one is renting for $4,500 a month.
Not to mention, you also have that down payment.
I'm not gonna lie, rent is a whole nother story. Rent is also absolutely insane, but you can find gems. You can find pretty affordable spots. There's just a lot more opportunity to rent right now for cheaper than to buy. Like where there's zero opportunity to buy for cheap in California. You can find gold mines when it comes to renting.
You could leave in the stock market. There's the opportunity cost of that as well.
So for this place, it's a $160,000 down payment. And if you're getting the average stock market return, that's $16,000 per year that you're losing out on. Not to mention, if you were saving $1,500 a month because it's cheaper to rent, you can invest that as well. And in 5 years, you would have nearly $400,000.
Assuming 10%
return. And so the question is always, does buying beat that return? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
What I realized is with both of the places that
your house is a massive risk. So as someone who just moved to Los Angeles, the city itself finally, even though I've grown up here my entire life, I never lived there. I was kind of more in the Long Beach area. The thing that I can't help but notice in LA is things change on a dime in your environment. If you might live in what seems like a nice community at first, and then all of a sudden a new metro station opens up and just boom, right down the street, and now all of a sudden and I'm saying this because I live directly across the street from one of the LA metro stations, and I'm like, holy crap. And that only opened up 2016. And when I talk to people in the area is not the best area now. And that's usually what they go to. That's a whole different discussion. I think they should continue to extend the metro, and the more they build it out and make it bigger, the less the metro is going to bring in, more dangerous situations that are going on. You got to just at this point continue to expand it. But that's just one example. I see other houses that you have a small single family house, and then right next to it will now be a giant, massive 4-story apartment complex that's gonna have 50 units or something crazy like that. And it's what the hell? And now these 50 units are now staring down at you in your backyard, and you have zero privacy anymore because all these people that are just moved in. It is so unsafe. It is such a risk to buy, specifically in Los Angeles, but that might be for a lot of the county. I would say less so in Orange County, but
actually put offers in on, it was very close. It was not a no-brainer that buying was better. It was maybe not though. Because the thing is, there's a lot more factors than just the monthly mortgage cost versus the rent costs. There's home appreciation, the fact that rents can go up, the tax benefits of owning. It's actually a lot more complicated to determine if it is truly a good investment.
That's why it took me 6 months to really come to a clear decision okay, no, I'm going to continue to rent for now. Because there's so much weird little things that are going into it.
Buy versus rent.
The New York Times actually made a really good rent versus buy calculator that takes into account all of these things, the tax benefits of owning and the fact that rent increases. And in this specific scenario, renting was always just a little bit better, even if you held it for 30 years.
That's the thing. They say if you hold it for 5 to 10 years, okay, maybe buying is better. Maybe. But at the same time, we don't really know. And you know what sucks? If you're not logging their information of all the maintenance things that you needed to fix over the course of the time you own the house, you might think, people generally be thinking that, oh, look how much money I just gained, with my house value. but then they don't remember the 50,000 like pool, that they installed, or the ADU that they put in, or the time they had to fix their plumbing, which cost like $10,000. They don't think about any of that stuff.
Calculator isn't even taking into account that you might be investing the difference in what you save by renting. It also doesn't take into account that if you buy, you could potentially refinance later, but still it gives you a pretty good idea of if it's truly better to buy versus rent, which in most cases, better to rent. So for it to make sense as an investment, you need the...
I think that we're also coming at this from a perspective of someone, from people from like California. I think things drastically change as soon as you introduce like the Vegas market. Now there's risk that comes with that too, because it's Las Vegas, it's in the middle of the desert, and it's 100% reliant on tourism and casinos and all that. If that stuff disappears one day, then your house value goes to zero, basically. But there are definitely, that's like the biggest thing. Even like financial dudes like Dave Ramsey's always says, and I think he's right. I think there's a lot to criticize Dave Ramsey on. But at the end of the day, he's right about a lot of people are just, they're expecting to buy in like places that have already been built up. You kind of got to buy out in the boonies and then pray that that stuff just builds back up, which generally, historically speaking, you buy in a rural area or kind of a more rural-ish, maybe outside of town that doesn't have that many things. Generally, with time, it does get better and the value gets better and it becomes more of a hot spot with time.
Appreciation to outpace those stock market gains. And when I looked at the data of what I wanted to buy, I didn't think it would.
Houses always appreciate, don't they? Not super well for condos and townhouses. Personally, what I was...
That's the thing, and everyone wants to buy a condo because it's more affordable, but it does not... You're just like owning the space, not even the... I'm not cool with the condos. You also have to deal with the HOAs. The townhouses may be a little bit cooler, but...
Looking at buying was a condo or a townhouse. Because in LA, to get a single family house, you're starting at $1.7 million. And also, I personally just...
Yeah, Orange County, I was seeing it for like 1.1 million. But yeah. No, there's parts of like... In Los Angeles, yes. But there's parts you can find, like I'm seeing right now. Now, prices are kind of going down a little bit. But I've been seeing stuff for like 800,000, 700,000. They're not in good areas, and they're 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, which is still crazy. But yeah,
like the security of a building. I don't think I would sleep very well at night in a single family house in LA. It's just a personal thing.
This is a thing I think about all the time. There's absolutely a male privilege that comes with this stuff. Like I can live in kind of a more dangerous area, and other people cannot. That is 100. I think about that all the time. So I do have more flexibility because I'm not as afraid of living in a sketchier neighborhood. But
I just know myself, and I wouldn't.
Other people,
single family houses do historically appreciate pretty well, like 4% a year. But condos and townhouses, not the same.
In fact, Redfin's data showed in the last 5 years, condos only appreciated 0.7% per year, which is unusually low. I like to go in and look at the particular building I'm interested in and see how other units appreciated. Oftentimes, it was about 2 to 3% a year. Sometimes they lost money if some...
That's insanely low, 2 to 3%, versus the historical returns of the S&P 500, 10?
Somebody bought in 2021 and was now trying to sell, they were losing money.
So this was another realization I had, was condos just are really not a great investment.
Yeah.
I have a real estate license, so I've worked in real estate a little bit. I've had some listings, and I had a listing and the owner owned the condo for 2 years and wanted to sell. They actually were going to lose money if they sold it. A lot of times the case with condos, I think people are disappointed with the appreciation not really being very good. This is something a lot of real estate agents won't tell you.
Luckily, you can see, like in the history of the place before you buy, you see like obviously the history. You want to go over how much the value was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or as much of that information as possible. But yeah, she's absolutely right about this. The condos are not worth it.
Because they just want you to buy something to get the commission. But I'm a YouTuber first and foremost, so I don't really care. And so if you are living in a building, if you're going for that lifestyle like I am, you can usually rent them for cheaper and get a better return, keeping that down payment in the stock market.
Yeah, if you're looking to just live in a building, like just rent and build it. I mean, I know you can't build things physically, but if you want to paint the walls, just paint the walls and then just, let it come out of your security deposit. Screw it.
End up in a better spot in, say, 5 years to buy a single family house instead.
I could bore you guys with the numbers of this all day, but basically, buying could be an okay investment. You can make it make sense when you factor in the tax benefits more than anything. But the bigger thing was, I couldn't find something in my price range I really was excited to buy and commit to for 5 to 10 plus years. The fact of the matter is, the inventory inventory in LA in the $1 million price range even is not that great. And you can definitely rent something better. It's usually
Absolutely.
an older condo from the 80s or even older, in need of maintenance.
That's the thing. Yeah, like you can find maybe something that's in your price range, but it's going to need a ton of work. I mean, I guess you could just not do the work, which is probably what I would have done. I just wouldn't have updated the kitchen. But it's like, damn, this thing is so ugly. I got to just live in that because or you buy it and then you do the updates. So it's going to be another $50,000 or whatever, depending on what kind of updates you're trying to do on top of it.
Not updated. I was able to find 2 places I liked enough that I put offers in on, but even those, when they didn't work out, I wasn't heartbroken because I was gonna have to put tens of thousands, if not over 100,000.
Same. The one place that I did think about putting an offer in, it was going to need a bunch of stuff. And I'm just like, damn. It was kind of, I didn't even put the offer in because I'm like, nah, this is not making any sense.
Dollars in one case into making it updated. Updated enough that it was similar to the comparable rentals. If I was buying in a city like Seattle, where I'm from, where they have a lot of great inventory, even in the $600,000 to $800,000 price range, you can get a nice townhouse for like $700,000. Sure, you could probably make a little more if you kept your money in the stock market, but I would still buy in that case because I'd be buying something that I actually want. With the case of
a lot of people say that renting is better, or buying. They use the excuse that like buying is better because at least you know your payment and it's not gonna go up over the years. Well, first of all, that doesn't include like homeowners insurance that might go up, and property taxes go slightly up. But here's the thing: in LA, currently my spot, it's rent controlled. They can only increase it by a certain amount. So yeah, it does increase, but it's not going to explode. So that's an aspect that I think people forget in some of the rent-controlled cities. It's like, well, rent's going up a little bit, but it's because it's rent-controlled. It's like, it's not that bad.
Buying here in LA, it just started to not feel right because these places just were not better than what you could rent.
For now, I think it's better to hold out, keep investing until I can get the house I really want. Because I don't think getting a condo in the...
I'm gonna be real. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think holding out and buying in LA, I mean, I guess it depends on your situation. The real solution is you got to move. Let's just be real. I mean, that's what everyone's telling us. All the people that are like in my age range looking at the houses, you got to just move. I think that's the right move. If you really want to live in LA, then you just rent. And then the moment you're ready to either settle down or just to buy a house, you're going to have to buy a house somewhere else. It could be far. It could be far out, somewhere in California, but it just can't be in these massive metropolitan areas. Like I said, Las Vegas. If you don't want Las Vegas, Texas. Texas is a good one, but the property tax is high in Texas.
Meantime is the best stepping stone and way to get there. I actually think renting and investing in the stock market is a better way. Who knows? I could be wrong. It all depends on...
It's easy, too. It's just easy that way. You just rent and you just put your money in the stock market. That's it. Close your eyes. That's it. It just goes up. Now, you want to diversify a little bit. That's the thing. You do kind of want to diversify. I probably wouldn't recommend putting it 100% of your money in the stock market, but also I'd say things that I don't necessarily follow. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciation in the stock market. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know, but based on historical data, I do think that this is the case.
And the last reason was realizing
another thing I always see about I'm not even gonna say that because I might jinx it, but I do feel like there's always gonna be the doom and gloom people. People make content that gets views, and doom and gloom, stock market's gonna crash to zero, is gonna always get views literally until the end of time, until we're all dust. So that stuff, I feel like I just roll my eyes at it now at this point.
value the flexibility right now that renting gives you.
When it comes to renting, I'm okay with the location being a little grungier, like I can deal. But when it comes to actually buying, I am way pickier on the location.
As she should be, because you're living there forever and your money is tied to it. You need to be really careful where you're buying in LA, which it's so weird. The weird little pockets. And what sucks is you might move into a beautiful area, and then in 3 years, 3, 4, 5 years, it becomes a dump. Look at I think she's going to talk about it, Santa Monica.
I've lived here like over 10 years, and I have noticed ever since COVID, it has gone downhill in terms of safety and cleanliness.
I have been here for over a week now. This kind of stuff is just always popping up. I love LA for right now.
There's a new batch of like homeless people always outside my house. It's crazy. They be coming and then they just disappear, and then another batch comes. It's just like, oh, I'm seeing some new faces around. What's going on?
Community here. There's lots of cool stuff to film and opportunities here, but I could see myself buying in a little bit of a different area at some point.
I've recently spent more time in another part of California, close to LA, but actually outside.
I don't know if she's trying to. I don't mean to. Yeah, I don't know if she's not trying to talk about that, but I'm pretty sure that's Newport. That's a beautiful area. I was talking about Orange County. Very unaffordable though. I mean, I think it's unaffordable.
Of LA, and it's just so much cleaner, safer. I wouldn't feel scared living in a house.
Don't even get me started, bro. As someone who had lived in Orange County for 8 years and just moved up to LA for the first time. LA sucks, bro. LA fucking sucks. It's not fun. It's like, holy shit, y'all live like this? Damn, this sucks. I'm waiting to give my review about it, but this city sucks. I'm just gonna be honest. It's fun though. I will say it's fun. I'm gonna save it for the video, but it's fun. There's lots of interesting things to do. Everyone lives there. It's a great time, but also it sucks. And I miss Orange County.
House there, and I've kind of started to think that when it comes time to buy, I might actually want to buy there instead. So I am valuing the flexibility of renting, still spending time here for now. Maybe I'll want to stay here, but maybe not. I like having that flexibility right now.
Orange County is definitely more affordable, and it's also just way nicer.
Some parts of it feel like a gamble in terms of long-term property value. Take somewhere like Santa Monica near the 3rd Street Promenade area. It used to be really lively, a touristy area.
I hadn't gone back to Santa Monica in like 10 years or maybe longer, and I just revisited it because it's very easy to get from my house to Santa Monica, and it is a dump. It's crazy. Like, this is like a legendary city, a legendary part of Santa Monica, or of Los Angeles, Santa Monica Beach. It's terrible. It's like a freaking zombie wasteland now.
Yeah, it was nice. And now it's dead. It's actually kind of sketchy. And those property values have definitely suffered. Well, it's unlikely for that to happen. That's just one small part of LA. Most of it is not like that. The fact that it could happen, I don't love. I think I'd rather rent in a place like that where I'm not sure if it's gonna be nice or not.
I think with just that said alone, you should never buy in LA. Just with that said, what happened to Santa Monica and what could potentially happen to any area, probably just don't buy in LA County in general, depending on the pockets. It depends on the pocket. I'm sure there's still some pockets that would be safe, but nothing is 100% safe for sure. I would put higher percentages that Ventura County, Orange County is going to be a lot safer, that your area won't just randomly turn on a dime and become, sketchy and then lower the property value.
And buy somewhere where it seems more like a sure thing that it's gonna stay pretty nice. So that is why I actually think renting is the smarter financial decision and just lifestyle choice for me right now. But it's such a personal decision for everyone. I really encourage you to run the numbers, to think, do I actually want to live here for 10 years if I have to? Am I just trying to check a box, or am I excited about this place? Because the fact of the matter is, these days, it's not always the best investment. So if you're gonna buy a place, it's more of a personal consumption thing. It's fine to buy something, and there can be great reasons to, like staying in a school district if you have kids, or you love a location and you want to make sure that you're always there. But if you're looking at buying as a stepping stone to getting to your next place, it might not be the best, especially if you're looking at a condo like I was. But
that's absolutely the general vibe now. If you just love houses, you love architecture, go for it. But if you don't just, it's a luxury. Houses have essentially become cars. They become automobiles now, where like we all should be driving like Toyota Corollas or whatever, Honda Civics for like 20 years, especially like a 20-year-old used car, but we don't do that. People just buy the fanciest car because it's a flex. And that's what houses are at this point now. Houses are just a flex.
But I will say, you guys, that American dream is so ingrained. Even knowing all this, a part of me still wants to buy, even though I know it's not a good idea.
Awesome thing is, there are alternatives to investing in real estate. You can still build equity in something without buying real estate. Stocks are much more passive. And I made a whole video comparing stock market returns to my real estate investment returns, and it kind of solidified that stocks can be better. They often are when interest rates and prices are this high.
Because it's sit there, it's unrealized gains. Obviously one day when you want to cash out, it's going to be taxed, but it's just, like I said, it's no headache. Put it in and forget about it. I love that.
Want to rent forever, but I do think that renting and investing the difference will get me to my goal of buying something I'm really excited about
100%. That's absolutely the answer. That's 100% the answer.
later on. So let me know what you guys think. Are you renting?
Yeah. Like I said, don't buy, honestly, in LA. And I get it, LA, the thing is, I just watched a Jaden Animations video of Los Angeles and everything she hates about LA, and that's like literally everything that I don't like. But also she talked about the good stuff and that all her friends are there and things like that, and that's also how I feel. So I would just not buy in LA. And yeah, you're gonna have to find a new market. That's the way to do it. The only houses that look good to me is anything in Vegas. I know it's a risk, but at least you're getting a mansion out of it. At least it's a nice mansion. There's like no HOAs, and it's like $400,000, a lot more reasonable for like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and it's like kind of a mansion 2-story. But yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about this video because I was like, holy crap! Someone finally like perfectly put into words how I've been feeling this whole time, and maybe like the older generation. I think the older generation could really use this video because the older generation that already own a home are very confused about people like us because they're like, why aren't you buying a house? You get the value and all this. It doesn't work like that anymore. That's how I've been noticing. The last couple of years of my research is not working like that anymore. And I promise you, I've tried to justify it. It's unjustifiable. And a big thanks to my patrons this month. Drew's abandoned son from Alabama. Petition for Drew to make Hoi 4 ASMR Tingles version 2. Nolan. Alexander the Terrible. Nord Tyrol. Miglu the Goat. King Bear Hayes. Connor Pavlik. Frederick Tiblin. Carmel. Drew's Argentinian Trust Fund. Rip Grandpa. Douche Baggins. Luxembourg Lover. And Tambrin.